Hey everybody, happy Saturday evening live tutorial stream. How's everybody doing? Wherever you are out there on the internet today, I hope everyone had a good Saturday. We survived Saturday at Beading Dreams. We were busy, which is wonderful. It's exactly what one wants from a Saturday. I am increasingly hopeful that things will pick back up to a normal rate of business because, believe it or not, school starts like a week from next Tuesday, which is crazy. That summer's gone by so quickly. Not that, the starting of school really affects me too much because Ziggy and Mamie don't go to school, but I will be Ziggy would absolutely flunk out, and Mamie would wind up running some kind of a gang, I think. Yeah. She'd be like the science club nerd who's like making explosives in the back of class. That would totally be Mamie. Yeah, and death robots to carry her because her diminutive stature. She'd make herself like a mecha, like a Mamie mecha. To take over the. Yeah, no, nobody wants Mamie at school because she would wind up owning the planet, I think. But yeah. Still can't believe that summer's gone by so fast. Though I do remember, like, I was in that generation where school was encroaching, like, from both sides on summer. Hi, Silver, and oh my God, it was so good to see you on Zoom last night before Ziggy destroyed everything. Like, yeah, don't let your delinquent cat roll all over your laptop. Is the really not difficult to discern moral of the story here, but he's just so damn cute. But yeah, no, it did take me a while to get my laptop back up and running after that, so I'm sorry I missed the end of the Zoom last night. But anyway, so yeah, so summer's almost over. People hopefully are going to be coming back into town here in Dallas. Very excited about that because it means that, business will be businessing again instead of just kind of dripping along. And we are here today to make this graduated beaded tassel. So this is the actual project for today. So let's talk tools and supplies for this evening's project. And let's also talk about the fact that Allison absolutely did not fix anything on her hand cam. That's actually not terrible though. Could be worse. So what do we need for today's project? Okay, you're gonna need 4 different sizes of beads. So what I've got on this tassel is I've got 6, 8, 10, and 12. My ratio is I've got 7 6mm, 3 8mm, 2 10s, and 1 12, and then at the bottom I've got a 4mm that's holding everything on. So that means that if you want to replicate my tassel, then you're going to need, and it's a 5-strand tassel, so it's a pretty quick project, especially with the larger beads. So if you want to replicate what I did here, you're going to need 5 12mm beads, let's see, 10 10mm beads, yes, I'm mathing in my head, 15 8mm beads, and then 35, 7 times 5 is 35, I believe, 6mm beads plus 1 extra 6 or 8mm to put at the top of your cone. That is an optional bead, but I really like the way it looks, so I did include that in the supply list. You're gonna need a cone. This type of tassel really needs a cone, meaning something that's shaped like, a megaphone rather than a cap, which is something that's kind of shaped like a semicircle. So you really need the depth of a cone in order to make this work. You're gonna need some wire. I've got some gold-filled 24 gauge that I am using tonight. I think I actually recommended 22 gauge in the supply list, which is better, but we're almost out of 22 gauge, so I'm slumming it with 24 gauge. And then you can put this on whatever you want. So you could use this as a centerpiece of a beaded project. I put it on some station chain that I had. You could also make this into an earring. I would recommend, if you're making these into earrings, that you make them a little bit smaller because this is awful heavy for an earring, but it is a really cool tassel. So what am I working with tonight? So for my large beads, my 12 millimeters, I've got these cool check fire polish. And then I've got these for my 10s. And then I've actually got 6s and 4s. So we're going to see how this looks. Those are 6s and those are 4 millimeters. So I'm playing with the sizes a little bit. You know, this is Allison modifying the project on the stream. That doesn't always work out well for me, so we're going to see how it goes. In addition to all of your beads, you're also going to need some cord. So I just have some nylon beading cord. Mine's a size 1. You're going to need a needle. So I just have a twisted wire needle, and you are going to need some hypo cement. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to grab my 24 gauge wire and I'm going to grab my pliers. So in addition to all of that other stuff I just said, you're going to need your full set of hand tools. That means you are going to need your round nose pliers. You're going to need your chain nose pliers, and you're going to need your wire cutters. So I'm going to start by taking my wire cutters and cutting of my 24 gauge gold filled wire a piece that is about 5-ish inches long. Doesn't need to be super precise with the measurement, but you need to have enough to do a decent wire wrap. So 5 to 6 inches is what I recommend. Then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and we are going to start off the stream with a basic wire wrap loop. So basic wire wrap loop is one of those of you who've hung out for a while on the Beading Dream stream know that this is one of my favorite techniques. In my opinion, it's one of the most useful things you can possibly know, and definitely is something that is more than worth the time it takes to perfect it, just because it is so useful. You can use this for hanging beads off of chain. You can use this for making charms to hang off of necklaces or bracelets. You can use this to attach clasps. There's so many things you can do with your basic wire wrap loop. So I'm going to start with my round nose pliers. Round nose pliers, of course, are called that because their barrels are rounded. They look like tiny little stabby cones. And I'm going to use my round nose pliers, and I'm going to grab right near the end of my piece of 24 gauge wire. So I'm going to grab about an inch or so from the end. So again, this being about a 5-inch piece of wire, I've got my 1 inch of wire here, and I've got the rest of my wire beneath my pliers. I'm going to take my non-plier hand. So I am a right-handed individual. That means this plier hand is my right hand, and this hand that I'm going to use to manipulate my wire is my left hand. I'm going to push my wire away from me over my pliers to make a 90-degree angle. See how I have a nice corner that I just formed over the top of that pliers? Then I'm going to loosen my pliers, rotate them 1/8 of a turn, and grab again. So what I've done is I've grabbed right on that corner I just made. Now I'm going to take the shorter of these 2 pieces of wire, and I'm going to pull it back up over the top of my pliers towards me and down until it almost meets the other wire. So you can see right here on my pliers them starting to form a circle. Now I'm going to loosen my pliers, rotate them out of the way, grab again. My goal here is to expose this corner right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire and I'm just going to cross that underneath my pliers to make this. This is what we on the Beading Dream stream call our lady with a scarf. So it is basically a completed loop with a tail. And I'm going to switch to my chain nose pliers. I'm going to hold across that lady's head, and I'm going to wrap this tail around starting at the base of the loop. I'm going to pull as hard as I can on this piece of wire, and I'm going to try and create 2 or 3 wraps which are close together and tight to my core wire. I'm going to go ahead and trim my wire off. The short one, you need the long one, so don't cut that. And press your end down. Okay, so now I have a basic wire wrap loop that is completed and closed. This is what's going to be the basis for my tassels. I'm going to take my cord and, okay, so figure I'm going to do 5 strands. Thank you, Teddy Fit. 5 strands of tassel. The strands are going to be approximately 4 inches long, so 4, 8, 16, 20 inches. You're gonna have to double that, plus you're gonna need extra. So I'm gonna, and then we're gonna double that because I'm gonna double my cord through my needle. So figure we're gonna need about 40. Let's just call it 60 times 2. So that's gonna be 10 feet of cord. Oh, whoops. Well, you know. Clean counter is good counter, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm cutting myself 10 feet of my nylon cord. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my nylon cord and I'm going to take my, so I've got it in half. So I've got 2 free ends at one end and then I have a loop right there at the other end. So I'm going to take my 2 free ends and I'm actually going to thread those through the eye of my needle. And I just want to have enough of a tail on this that it's not going to come right back through my needle. So it's definitely not the whole length of my cord. Oh, hey, look there. I realized there were holes in my shirt this morning after I put it on. So yeah, let's not do that again. So I've got my tail and my needle and my cord. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to my wire wrapped loop. So I'm just going to take my needle through my loop and I'm going to pull it until I've got my loop of thread right there. I'm going to put my needle through that loop of thread and then I'm just going to pull everything through, and what's going to happen is it's going to attach itself nice and firmly to my wire wrap loop with a lark's head knot. Now I'm going to go ahead and string my first tassel strand. So we're going to start with my smallest beads. So I'm going to go ahead and cut open all these bead strands so that I can access them easily. So I've got my small beads, my medium beads, my large beads, and my extra large beads. So the strand is going to start with the small beads, okay, because my loop is, in this sample, my loop is actually under here. So we're going to start with 7 small beads, and then 3 medium, 2 large, 1 extra large, and 1 small. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and string onto this needle and this piece of cording. So again, that was 7. So when you're choosing beads, you want to make sure that you've got beads, obviously, that are big enough holes that your cord will go through them, twice down and twice up, and also you want to have a good progression of sizes. So that was 7 of my small beads, and then we're going to do 3 of my medium beads. So 1, 2, 3 of my medium beads, 2 of my large, and 1 extra large. And then 1 small. The small is going to be the terminal bead at the bottom that's going to hold everything together. Okay, so this is my, bye Essie, thank you. Alright, so this is my strand, like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip this bottom bead, the little one, and I'm gonna go ahead and string back up through all of these beads. That means you have to find your needle. Alright, and so I've skipped my small bead. It's somewhere down there on my cord. Now I'm going to go back up through the rest of these. And so just kind of feed them all down onto your needle, like so. Almost there. 3 more to go. Alright, then we're going to grab our needle and we're just going to pull all of this extra cord through. Try not to pull your cord off your needle at this point. And what you can do is you can find that very last bead, that one that we skipped. So it should be only bead that's got cord running through it horizontally instead of vertically. And hold that and then pull. And that will give you a fairly tight strand. Now, sometimes you have, see how up here there's this little bubble of cord? Okay, that is not desirable. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull my whole strand down, and then I'm going to just sort of pull on that and wiggle it so that it gets nice and tight. What is Corvus hunting and gathering?
She's food shopping.
Oh, got it. That's less exciting.
I know. That's
Thought she might be grabbing, like, you know, ingredients for spells and marshaling her toad army.
I mean, possibly that as well. She claimed to be food shopping, but...
I mean, I don't think you can marshal your toad army at the HEB.
Well, she's definitely not at the HEB.
That's fair. Okay, so now I'm going to anchor this onto my circle there. And I'm just going to do that by doing a half hitch knot. So I'm going to take my needle through my wire loop. And then take my needle through my thread loop. And what that does is it creates an anchor point on my wire loop. Now I'm going to repeat this exact same sequence again. So that was 7 small beads, 3, 7. I guess the good thing about the fact that Mamie and Ziggy have been on house arrest is that fewer animals have been killed by Mamie in the past week.
Yes, that is good.
So 7 small, 3 medium, 2 large, 1 extra large, and then 1 small is the sequence. So all the little mousies and lizards and birds of my neighborhood should really throw me some kind of a party for not unleashing the murder cat on them.
Right?
Oh, though actually the murder cat's out right now.
So, I think they're taking that party back.
I think they are. I forgot. I let her out and she didn't come home before I went to work.
Yeah.
Sorry, lizards and toads and mouses and birds. I know, Tallyfut. You know, if I could just remember what I'm doing with my life, it would be so much easier. I do not know why I've been such a scatterbrain the past few weeks, but I really have. And I'm now reaping the consequences of being such a scatterbrain, so I need to, like, unscatter my brains. If anyone has any hints for unscattering one's brains, I am happy to listen. Okay, so here's my sequence.
Or any hookups for speed, I guess.
Right?
Where's Smee when you need her?
Seriously. So there's my sequence. Now once again I'm going to skip this. Where is Smee? Why is she not on the stream? Is she floating the Frio or the Kamal? Because that's not fair. And I'm going to go back up all of these beads until I get back to my loop. I feel like there was a river she was floating this weekend.
Oh, yes, there is. That must be where she is.
Ugh, unfair. Strongly object to Amy floating a river without us, just saying.
Just because it's her birthday.
I didn't get to float on a river on my birthday.
You chose to do other things.
It's true, but even if I had wanted to float on a river, there's not really a convenient... I could have floated in, like, the drainage ditch behind my house. I mean, that would have been classy. Yeah, Mamie is definitely, I've been letting her out occasionally, but she and Ziggy have mostly been on house arrest, mostly because Ziggy's on house arrest because he was nasty to my neighbor. But I sent Heather a picture of Mamie on top of the shelves,
yes,
where I have all sorts of glass apothecary jars. I was like, I think Mamie's a little understimulated since she's not allowed to go outside right now.
You need to put her, put a pumpkin full of beef in her enclosure.
Right? I mean, I have the Wacom toys that you fill with treats. They're apparently not as interesting as actual, aminals that you can murder, according to Mamie. She's the cutest little murder cat, though. She did not appear on stream last night, just Ziggy and his stream crushing abilities. He's very talented.
He is very talented.
Yeah.
At that.
At making my computer just go all haywire. Okay, so now we have a slight problem in that I've lost my needle and it's somewhere on the floor. Not completely sure where. Ziggy butt was the star. So I will be right back. I'm going to go grab another needle. Yes, Ziggy always wants his butt to be the star. He thinks that everyone
he's pretty convinced. Yeah.
loves his butt as much as he does.
He's a pretty big fan of his own butt.
He absolutely is. He attends to it regularly.
It's better than making you do it, I suppose.
That's true. Thankfully, that typically only happens with old, overweight, and long-haired cats.
Yes.
He is very assiduous about grooming his sport hole. Tallyfet. It's true. He really is.
Well, some of us are.
Okay. I'm not even gonna pursue that one further. Because I don't want to know what you do on your own time. It's not my business.
Well, that's good.
All right, so now I've got so I've reacquired a needle. So I'm going to go ahead and do an anchor point here. So again, I'm going to take my needle through my metal loop and pull, and then take my needle through my cord loop and pull, and that's going to make myself a half hitch knot, which is an anchor. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and do my next strand. So I'm doing 5 strands on this tassel, and I'm going to make them all the same. So the pattern again is 7 small, 3 medium, 2 large, 1 extra large, and 1 small. So whatever iteration of sizing you're using, that's the pattern that you are going to be using if you want to replicate what I did. Now you don't have to replicate what I did. You can make your own pattern. But of course, if you want the graduated tassel look, you do need to start small and end large, because that's just the way that works.
You could start large and end small, but
You could, but you would have, then you'd have to use a really big cone. Like you would have some issues if you tried to reverse graduate this about having it all come together into the cone.
But it would look like wisteria.
Okay, well that's fair. I mean, do you want to trade? Do you want to teach?
No.
Okay.
I was just saying something.
Heather's spouting good ideas from the other side of the screen.
No, that
and
was
she's
not a good idea.
not even coming on camera to do it, y'all.
No, no one claimed that was a good idea.
I did.
Okay.
Aren't I supposed to at least be somewhat of the arbiter of good
Yes,
ideas
it's
around
true.
this place?
You are the arbiter of all the good ideas.
All right, so this is my strand that I have strung. Again, I'm gonna skip this last bead and then go back up through all of these. So it's slightly a laborious process, but it's not too difficult. I find the easiest way to do this, especially with the twisted wire needles that aren't so stiff, is to kind of feed your beads back down onto the needle rather than trying to feed your needle up through your beads. That's just a personal preference. You know, you just got to get the needle up through all the beads. However you manage to do it is totally fine. And then once we get up through all the beads, we're going to go ahead and tighten this up. And so sometimes this will seem like a Gordian knot. Ooh, yay, Tally Fat, have fun. Okay, so now we've got 3 strands, and we're going to anchor that on again with a half hitch. So that's just needle through and needle through and pull. Alright, so that's 3 strands out of 5. Now I've just got 2 more to go. So this is exactly the same technique that one would use if one were making a seed bead tassel, with the one exception that this is so much easier. But again, the technique is exactly the same. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you're doing a seed bead tassel, you don't necessarily have to graduate your beads like I am. You'll just string a line, skip the last bead, string back up, anchor it on, and just keep going and going and going until you've got a tassel of the fullness that you want. Now, since seed beads are so much smaller than the size of beads that I'm using, it's going to take you longer to get through, you know, what looks like a full tassel, but the technique is the same. You can also make mini tassels, little ones with seed beads, you know, where you're making your strands fairly short, and that obviously doesn't take quite as long of a time. Okay, so this is strand number 4. I've got my terminal bead, which is of course my small bead. So again, this is my 4th strand, so that's sequence 7 small, 3 medium. That's not 3 medium, that's 2 medium. I'm really glad I decided to, you know, say that, because that was wrong. 7 small, 3 medium, 2 large, 1 extra large, 1 small. So that means I need 1 more medium. Alright, 2 large, 1 extra large, and then 1 small. So let's try this again with, alright, awesome. That's my strand. So 7 small, 3 medium, 2 large, 1 extra large, and 1 small. Skip the small, go back up through everything. Try not to lose your needle again. That was directed solely at me, not at any of you. ask Tally Fit so many questions when she's watching your band. I know what festival it is and where they're from, what kind of music they play.
They're called local natives. I love them.
Of course Heather already knows them, because Heather has like the widest spectrum of music taste of anyone I've ever known. She really does.
It's true. Yeah. It's true.
She's just everywhere with the music, and it's awesome because I have learned so many cool music things from her. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. Maybe. Okay, so that is strand number 4, which I'm not going to anchor on once I figure out what the heck this nonsense is. Which need?
Nothing. I don't know why I was doing that.
Did I forget something?
Huh?
Did I forget something?
No.
Okay, good.
I mean, not that I saw. I realized this needed doing
So
first.
the deposit is down there in the bag,
Yes.
and like I said, whatever you want to do with that is fine by me. It's gonna be a cluster no matter what. Yeah. It's not been the best day for me, frankly. So I'm happy to be here with you all, because some stuff went down today, and I just brick and mortar retail is very difficult, y'all. Like, I mean, seriously, next time you're in your local mom and pop, whatever store, I don't care what the heck they're selling, like, give them props, because there's so many factors. There are just so many balls that you have to keep juggling all the time, and sometimes you drop the really important ones, which is what happened to me yesterday, because I was worried about my plumber and the water under my house, and I dropped a really important ball that I'm gonna have to try my damnedest to catch on Monday, which I may or may not be able to. So yeah, you know, props to your local mom and pops, because it's tough. And unfortunately, when you drop an important ball, it's not, you know, some random people 5 states away that get screwed. It's your own employees who are close to being your family, you know, and it just is so much worse. So anyway, sorry, vague booking. So that was 7 small, 3 medium, 2 large, and 1 extra large. I'm not trying to be whiny on the internet, more just saying, like, give props to your local small businesses, because it ain't easy, and it ain't getting any easier. I mean, it wasn't easy to start with, but oof. Okay, so this is my last strand, so I'm gonna go once again, skip everything, or not skip everything, skip the end and go back up through everything is what I actually meant by that. Alright, so I've got that all through, so now I'm going to go ahead and one more time. So to tighten it up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this end bead and pull on my needle. And pull everything through. Make sure that your tail comes through every time, that you don't have 6 threads going through your strand, that you only have 4. Because if you have 6 strands going through, they're going to be, your strands are going to be, your tassel strands, and be really stiff. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and tie this off onto my loop here, and I'm going to do that with my half hitch. I'm just going to do it about 3 times. So that means I'm going to go through my wire loop, and then through my cord loop, once, twice, and one more time. And that should be enough to anchor that all off. And then I'm going to grab my hypo cement. This is the same glue that I would use if I were gluing a knotted project or a stretchy bracelet, and I'm going to go ahead and just glue that whole knot. So I just want to go ahead and saturate that whole knot with glue. And then I can go ahead and trim off my cord. I'm done with my cord. And I don't need to trim it off super close to my knot because my cone is going to be over everything. I'm going to take all of my things and move them to the side. Beads and whatnot. I'm going to keep in front of me one of my medium beads and my cone. Okay, so now I'm going to take my tassel, which is attached to my wire wrapped loop, and I'm going to drop my cone over the top of it, like so. So ideally what should happen is your cone should seat right at the top of that tassel. It should hide all of your ends, and then I'm going to drop one of my medium beads on top of my cone. And once again, that's optional. I just think it kind of helps to carry the look of the tassel up through the top of your construction. So I like it, but you don't have to use it. You could also use a small one instead of a medium one. Now I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and we're going to do another basic wire wrap loop. So this time I'm going to grab my pliers so that they're touching the top of my bead. I'm going to push my wire away from me, rotate my pliers, come back up over the top, rotate again, and go underneath to make my lady with a scarf. Now, make sure you make this loop big enough to accommodate whatever material you're going to string this tassel on. For instance, this one, I strung on this station chain, so I needed to make sure that my loop was big enough to go over these beads. Then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, I'm going to hold across that loop, and then I'm going to wrap, starting at the base of my loop, pulling my wire around until I get all the way down to that bead. Remember, you want your wraps to be close together and tight to the core wire. I'm going to go ahead and trim that wire off. Make sure you don't chop your loop when you're doing that. And then if you've got a pokey out stabby bit, which I do here, I'm going to take that and I'm just going to press it down. Alright, and there we go. That is our graduated beaded tassel. So you can, once again, you can put this on a chain, you can put this on a leather cord, you can put this on a satin cord, whatever you want. You could make it an earring. You'd probably want to make 2 of them if you were doing that, but not necessarily. You do you. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us for our graduated beaded tassel tutorial on our Saturday evening live tutorial stream. I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. We are an actual brick and mortar retail bead store. That means we are actually here in our physical premises on Lovers Lane in Dallas to feed your need to bead 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. We're here on twitch.tv/beading dream for all my non-locals 5 times a week with complimentary tutorials. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time plus Thursdays at noon Central Time with complimentary tutorials, and live merchandise sales every Wednesday and every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. That means since it's Saturday, we will be following up tonight's broadcast with a live merchandise sale. So I'm going to go grab some stuff, get ready. It's going to be more metal spacers tonight and maybe some crystals. So I'm going to go grab items for the sale. We're going to get ready, Heather and I, and we will be back on this channel, twitch.tv/beading dream, in about 30 minutes with a live merchandise sale. So everyone who's going to join us for the sale, don't forget to grab yourself a cocktail, grab yourself a snack, get comfy, get cozy, get ready for some bead retail therapy in the comfort of your living room, office, craft room, or wherever you are watching the Beading Dream stream. If you're not going to join us for the sale, we'll miss you terribly, but don't forget, we'll be back on this channel, twitch.tv/beading dream on Wednesday of next week at 6 p.m. with this Intro to Crochet with Beads and Fiber class. It's a 16-inch necklace with beads and fiber crocheted. It's a really fun, awesome, easy project. So I'm going to go get ready for the sale, and we will see y'all back on this channel, twitch.tv/beading dream in just 30 minutes. Bye, y'all.